that badge on your chest put you above the law? Huh? You don't get to just cruise through here like you own the place.
Officer, I'm simply asking why I was stopped. That's all.
Don't play coy with me, Commander. I know your type.
My type is a citizen following the law. If there's a traffic violation, state it.
You're testing me.
I'm asking for clarity, nothing more.
July 14th in a gated community in sunny Virginia. What should have been a peaceful homecoming for a decorated military hero turned into an absolute constitutional nightmare. Commander Marcus Thorne, a legendary Navy SEAL and instructor at the Naval Academy, stood by his vehicle in full dress blues, proud but unsuspecting. But to Officer Vance, standing there with a badge and a chip on his shoulder, Marcus wasn't a hero. He was just a target. "Your blood doesn't belong in that suit," Vance sneered, trampling every oath he'd ever sworn. He had no clue the 4K security cameras were capturing every racial slur, every illegal move. No idea he was messing with a man who had direct ties to the governor. And he definitely didn't know that this 15-minute burst of power was about to cost him everything: his freedom, his career, and a $2.5 million price tag for the city. This wasn't just another traffic stop. It was a total system collapse. How can a badge be blinded by so much hate? Before we keep going, drop a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from, anywhere in the world. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep telling stories that matter. Back to that fateful afternoon. To understand how big of a mistake Officer Vance was making, you need to know who was standing on that driveway. Commander Marcus Thorne isn't just any soldier. In the high-stakes world of elite military ops, his name is spoken with reverence. He's a titan in the United States Navy, the guy responsible for shaping the next generation of American warriors. As a lead instructor at the Naval Academy, his word is iron, his reputation untouchable. He's been awarded the Silver Star for gallantry under fire. In Pentagon halls and state government offices, his opinion carries serious weight. But on this Tuesday at 3:30 p.m., Thorne was just a man coming home, standing next to his white Tesla Model S, the afternoon sun bouncing off that immaculate paint. He wore his full navy dress blues, every crease perfect, every gold button shining. The medals pinned to his chest, not just ribbons, each one tells a story of courage and sacrifice, marking years spent in dangerous places where most folks would never dare set foot. In this community, Thorne wasn't just a neighbor, he was a cornerstone. Someone who'd spent his life defending the freedoms Officer Vance was about to trample. There's a certain aura around a man like Marcus, quiet strength. He doesn't need to shout or flash credentials to command respect. It's in the way he stands, the scars on his hands, the look in his eyes. He's navigated diplomatic crises and survived enemy ambushes. He's a VIP in every sense, with direct access to the highest offices in the land. For residents, he's a hero. To the students he mentors, he's a living legend. But to Officer Vance, all he saw was a black man standing next to a luxury car in a neighborhood where Vance decided he didn't belong. That was Vance's fatal mistake. The calm of the afternoon broke with the blare of a siren and the crunch of gravel. Vance didn't just pull up, he staged an invasion. He got out, hand on his holster, sunglasses hiding his eyes, every move screaming hostility. No good afternoon, no, "Is there a problem, sir?" Just that ugly edge of prejudice. He went straight into interrogation mode, questioning the Tesla, questioning why a man like Thorne was in this zip code. Then he crossed the line, looking at those pristine dress blues and spitting out a comment so vile it hit like a punch. Called the uniform a costume. Said Thorne's blood didn't match the rank. It was a deliberate insult, meant to provoke, to turn a citizen into a suspect. But Marcus Thorne didn't flinch. He stood there, steady as granite, eyes locked on the officer. He made a tactical decision. Even though he had his military ID and license, he didn't hand them over right away. He wasn't trying to be difficult. He wanted to see if Vance would double down or do his job. Calmly, Thorne asked for the reason for the stop. Vance's face went red. Instead of following protocol, he escalated. He saw Thorne's steady composure as a challenge to his authority. It became absurd. A man who trains heroes being treated like a criminal in his own driveway. What would you do if someone treated you like a criminal in your own home? The situation exploded. Vance, high on ego and hate, snapped. He screamed, "Down on the ground!" And before Thorne could react, he slammed the decorated seal face first onto the blistering asphalt. The thud was sickening. Vance shoved a boot into Thorne's back, pinning him down, the sun burning through his uniform. Then Vance tore through Thorne's pockets, ripped out his wallet, tossed his belongings, and ransacked the Tesla. No warrant, no cause, just a desperate search for something, anything, to justify what he'd done. When Vance saw Thorne's phone recording on the center console, he lost it, smashed the phone on the pavement, thinking he'd destroyed the only evidence. He leaned in, spat racial slurs, and told Thorne people like him didn't deserve rights. But Vance had missed something huge. Silent, unblinking 4K cameras around the gate were catching everything. Every punch, every slur, every illegal search, uploading it all to the cloud in real time. Vance thought he was in control, but he was actually filming his own professional suicide. How does a sworn officer become the very thing he's supposed to fight against, all in a single afternoon? After the violence, the silence was heavy. Just the panicked breathing of an officer who'd gone way too far. Commander Thorne, still pinned to the ground, didn't beg or scream. He turned his head and, in a voice cold as ice, told Vance to check the left breast pocket of his jacket. There was something in his tone, total confidence, zero fear, that made Vance's hand shake. Vance pulled out a leather credential case, flipped it open, and saw the gold-embossed seal of the Department of the Navy, the ID of a United States Navy SEAL commander, a senior instructor with clearance direct to the governor. In that second, Vance's face drained of color. He went from cocky bully to ghost-pale panic. The slurs stopped, replaced by stammering. Thorne didn't wait for an apology. He brushed off his uniform, stood tall, and looked Vance in the eye. You saw a color, not a man. Now you'll see the full weight of the United States government. Just then, the gates opened, and 3 black SUVs from the Naval Criminal Investigative Service rolled up, with the Sheriff's Department right behind. The hunter had become the hunted. Vance's badge suddenly felt a lot heavier. Does it feel satisfying when a bully's world collapses under the weight of truth? Justice didn't just roll forward, it thundered. In hours, the scene became a federal crime scene. Because Thorne was high-ranking, NCIS and the FBI took charge, stripping the local department of any control. Agents seized every camera, Vance's body cam, the cruiser's dash cam, the community's security footage. When the lead investigator saw the 4K video of a decorated hero slammed to the pavement and subjected to slurs, the room went dead silent. The evidence wasn't just clear, it was devastating. And Vance's nightmare was just starting. Federal investigators dug through Vance's record and uncovered a pattern. He wasn't just having a bad day. They found 3 other victims, a nurse, a college student, a small business owner. All had been intimidated, silenced, targeted by the same prejudice and overreach. One had lost his job after Vance filed a false report. The paper trail and camera footage unlocked every cover-up, every lie. The system finally worked as designed, protecting the innocent, purging the corrupt. The police chief had to stand before the press and announce Vance's suspension without pay. But everyone knew what was coming: a firing and criminal charges. Investigators documented every bruise on Thorne's body, every scratch on the Tesla, building a case no lawyer could defeat. This wasn't just about one incident anymore. It was a system getting cleaned out. The FBI made it clear. This wasn't just about punishing one man. It was a message to every officer who thinks a badge is a license to hate. Is it enough to fire a corrupt cop, or does the department share the blame? The day of reckoning came in a courtroom packed with people hungry for justice. Vance, stripped of uniform and swagger, sat at the defense table, trembling under the weight of his own actions. The prosecution's case was brutal. When the security footage played, showing a Navy SEAL slammed to the ground while Vance spat slurs, a gasp swept the room. The evidence screamed. The judge didn't hold back, telling Vance to his face that he'd betrayed the American legal system's very foundation. Then came the verdict. The court ordered a $2.5 million settlement for civil rights violations, assault, and the trauma inflicted on a national hero. But the money was just the start. The judge sentenced Vance to a full year in federal prison. Some wanted more, but the conviction meant Vance would forever be a felon, banned from ever carrying a badge or gun again. As the bailiffs cuffed him, the only sound was metal clicking on his wrists. Vance walked out with his head bowed past Marcus Thorne, who stood silent and proud, dignity intact. Vance wasn't a lawman anymore. He was just another inmate facing 365 days to reflect on what hate cost him. Outside, news cameras flashed, capturing the fall of an oppressor. The message was clear. In this country, no badge is bright enough to hide the darkness of prejudice. Do you think a year in prison is a fair price for betraying the oath to serve? The story of Marcus Thorne and Officer Vance is bigger than one ugly afternoon in a suburban driveway. It's a blunt, powerful reminder. Honor isn't a uniform you put on and take off. It's forged in the heart. Thorne spent decades defending the U.S., earning his stripes with blood, sweat, and an unbreakable commitment to the Constitution. And in seconds, all of that was ignored by a man who saw a target, not a hero. This story shows that prejudice isn't just a moral failing, it's a weakness. It blinds people in power to the truth, and as we saw, that blindness carries a heavy price. To those who wear a badge, let this be a warning. Your uniform means service, not ego. The laws you protect apply to you, too. In this era of constant surveillance, there are no more shadows to hide in. corruption and bias will come into the light, and the system will demand accountability. Maybe not right away, but eventually. For Officer Vance, the cost was his job, his reputation, and his freedom. A $2.5 million settlement and a jail cell. That's the price of choosing hate over duty. True power isn't about guns or handcuffs. It's about integrity. Lose that, and you lose everything. For everyone else, this is a call to stay vigilant. Justice prevails when we pay attention, document the truth, and stand up for those unfairly targeted. Commander Thorne didn't just win a lawsuit. He stood up for everyone who's ever been made to feel like they didn't belong. We have to keep demanding accountability and ensure our heroes get the respect they've earned, no matter their skin color. Thanks for spending your time with us today. Stories like this are vital. They keep the conversation about justice and equality alive. If this moved you or made you see the world a little differently, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the stories that shape our society. Your support helps us keep digging for the truth and bringing these narratives to light. For more stories of justice served and power held accountable, check out the video on your screen right now. See you in the next one.